And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the Experience Hockey Talk, serious hockey talk for serious hockey fans. I'm Michael, and let's get right on into it with some Washington Capitals coverage right here, right now. Obviously, last Saturday when we did the show, we were leading into the Stadium Series against the Toronto Maple Leafs at the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. For the Toronto Maple Leafs, their lineup was Patrick Marleau with Nazem Kadri and Mitch Marner, Zach Hyman with Tomas Plekanec and William Nylander, James Van Riemsdyk with Tyler Bozak and Connor Brown, Leo Komarov with Dominic Moore and Kasperi Kapanen, Morgan Riley on D with Ron Hainsey, Jake Gardiner with Nikita Zaitsev, Travis Dermott with Roman Polak, and Frederik Andersen in between the pipes for the Toronto Maple Leafs. For the Washington Capitals, you had Alex Ovechkin, Nicholas Backstrom, and Tom Wilson, Jacob Vrana with Evgeny Kuznetsov and TJ Oshie, Brett Connolly with Lars Eller and Andrei Burakovsky, Chandler Stevenson with Jay Beagle and Devontae Smith-Pelly. You had on defense Michael Kempney with John Carlson, Dmitry Orlov with Matt Niskanen, Brooks Orpik with Christian Hughes, and Braden Holtby in the goal. Going into the first period, right off the bat at 2:43, Travis Dermott would be called for holding. Then at 3:50 on that power play, Evgeny Kuznetsov would score his 20th of the season from Nicholas Backstrom and John Carlson, their 32nd and 40th respectively. Then at 5:20, Zach Hyman would score his 13th of the season from Roman Polak. And then 6:19, 59 seconds later, Alex Ovechkin would score his 40th of the season from Tom Wilson and Nicholas Backstrom, their 18th and 33rd respectively. Then at 12:20, John Carlson would be called for delay of game. And then at 15:28, Dominic Moore would also be called for delay of game. At 16:20 on that power play, Nicholas Backstrom would score his 16th of the season, assisted by Evgeny Kuznetsov and John Carlson, their 43rd and 41st respectively. At the end of the first period, the Capitals would be up 3-1. Shots were 11-7 in favor of the Caps. Faceoffs were 13-12 in favor of the Caps. Hits were even at 8 apiece. And on the power play, Toronto was 0-1, and the Capitals were 2-2. This was a very strong first period for the Washington Capitals. They connected on 2 power plays and responded very well when Toronto got a fluky goal against them. The Caps need to continue to play this way and continue winning the small battles along the boards and behind the net. Going into the second period at 7:22, Nazem Kadri scored his 24th of the season from Patrick Marleau and Travis Dermott. Then at 8:05, less than a minute later, John Carlson would score his 12th of the season from Chandler Stevenson and Jay Beagle, their 10th and 14th respectively. Mike Babcock would challenge the goal for goalie interference, however, failed in the attempt. And then at 10:49, Jacob Vrana would score his 11th of the season, assisted by Evgeny Kuznetsov and Dmitry Orlov, their 44th and 16th respectively, thus ending Frederik Andersen's night, and Toronto putting in Curtis McElhinney between the pipes for the remainder of the game. Capitals would be up 5-2. Shots are 30-19 in favor of the Caps. Faceoffs are 25-23 in favor of the Caps. And the hits are 18-12 in favor of Toronto, where Toronto's still 0-1 on the power play, and the Capitals are 2-2. This was another dominant period for the Capitals. They outshot the Leafs 17-12 and responded very well after giving up another goal. The Caps need to stay motivated and close this game out. Toronto is not playing good hockey, and the Caps need to continue the pressure. In the third period, the only thing that really took place was at 18:58 when Matt Niskanen was called for hooking. Toronto would fall to the Capitals 5-2 in the Stadium Series. Shots were 34-29 in favor of the Caps. Faceoffs were 38-29 in favor of the Caps. Hits were 26-22 in favor of Toronto. Toronto was 0-2 on the power play, and the Caps were the perfect 2-2 on the power play. One of the biggest concerns that I had about the third period for the Capitals, while yes, they were able to hold the fort down, the biggest problem that they had was they were outshot 10-4. When it comes to playoff hockey, you can't be outshot 10-4 in your own in the third period. You can't. What you need to do is you need to play to win, not play to not lose. And the Capitals in the third period of the Stadium Series were playing not to lose. And that is a very dangerous recipe for disaster for the Washington Capitals going forward, going into the playoff picture, if they do play that way like they did against Toronto in the third period, which is play not to lose, and get themselves outshot 10-4. And then, But everyone looked at it like, hey, this is great. The Caps got a big win, big game. How are they going to respond moving forward, starting off with their Western Conference road trip? And the first game of the road trip was on the 6th against the Anaheim Ducks in Anaheim. And for the Capitals, the lineup did not change at all. So the line stayed the same. For Anaheim, they faced up against Rickard Rakell with Ryan Getzlaf and Corey Perry, Andrew Cogliano with Ryan Kessler and Jacob Silverberg, Nick Ritchie with Adam Henrique and Andre Kass, Jason Chimera with Derek Grant and Chris Kelly. On defense, Cam Fowler with Brandon Montour, Marcus Peterson with Hampus Lindholm, and Josh Manson with Kevin Bieksa with John Gibson between the pipes. In the first period, Tom Wilson would be called for interference 36 seconds in. On that power play at 1:24, Adam Henrique would score his 20th of the season from Rickard Rakell and Ryan Getzlaf. Then Kevin Bieksa would be called for interference at 5:04, but the Capitals were unable to do anything with that power play. Then at 13:15, Hampus Lindholm would score his 10th of the season from Josh Manson and Jacob Silverberg. Then at 17:24, Nick Ritchie would be called for slashing. Once again, the Capitals would not be able to do anything with the power play. At the end of the first period, it was 2-0 in favor of Anaheim. Shots were tied at 7 apiece. Faceoffs were 13-8 in favor of the Caps. Hits were 11-5 in favor of Anaheim. And on the power play, the Caps were 0 for 2, and the Ducks were a perfect 1 for 1. This was a rough first period for the Caps. A bad early penalty against really set the tone for the Anaheim Ducks. The Capitals need to go out and play like this game is do or die. They need to tighten up their play and play smarter and really get back to winning those battles along the boards. Going into the second period, 5:37, Rickard Rakell. Oh no, that's a goal. At 5:37, Rickard Rakell would score his 28th of the season from Ryan Getzlaf and Josh Manson. As a result, Braden Holtby would then be pulled from the game and Philip Grubauer being put in between the pipes by the Capitals. And at 7:05, Corey Perry and Tom Wilson would both be called for roughing. At the end of the second period, the Caps would be down 3-0. Shots were 21-14 in favor of the Caps, which had a 14-7 advantage in favor of the Capitals that period. Faceoffs were 19-17 in favor of the Caps. Hits were 18-15 in favor of Anaheim. And the Caps were 0 for 2 on the power play still, and the Ducks 1 for 1. This was not a solid period for the Capitals, despite outshooting the Ducks 14-7. The Capitals need to do more with their chances and force the Ducks to make mistakes in order to get back into the game. Maybe not necessarily win the game, but get back into the game. However, after that, I went to bed. There's this thing called adulting. We all have to do it. So I ended up having to go to bed to get ready for work the next day. And so, I know for the fact that the Washington Capitals ended up losing that game 4-0 overall. I'm going to pull up the goal, who scored it real quick. But overall, when you look at the that game for the Capitals, where are they? Box. Nick Ritchie would score his 6th of the season, assisted by Adam Henrique and Kevin Bieksa at 18:34. And the only penalty that took place was Ryan Getzlaf for hooking Dmitry Orlov at minute 41 into the period. The Capitals did outshoot the Ducks 15-4 in that third period, giving them a total of 36 shots to Anaheim's 18. But I didn't see the third period, and for what others have told me, like my good friend George Vasikas from Nova Caps, he told me that I didn't miss much in regards to that third period. And then, of course, you also had the next game, which took place on March 8th, the other night, where the Washington Capitals took on the Los Angeles Kings in Los Angeles in the second part of their road trip out in California. In the first period, there would be no penalties, but Jeff Carter would score his 4th of the season, assisted by Alec Martinez and Tanner Pearson. Then going into the second period, at 5:52, Jacob Vrana would respawn for the Capitals, scoring his 12th of the season from TJ Oshie and Brooks Orpik, their 24th and 9th respectively. Then at 9:32, Trevor Lewis would score his 14th of the season, assisted by Jeff Carter, to give the Kings the lead. And then in the third period, at 5:58, second period at 14:42, you had Alec Martinez for slashing Evgeny Kuznetsov at 14:42. Then going into the third period at 5:58, you had Kyle Clifford and Tom Wilson, both for roughing. However, Kyle Clifford got an additional minor for roughing to give the Caps the power play. Then 8:01, Torrey Mitchell would be called for tripping, and then at 10 minutes even, Brett Conley would be called for interference. However, none of the teams would do anything with their power plays, but at 18:42, Kyle Clifford would score his 5th of the season, assisted by Anze Kopitar. And, how do you say this guy's name? Derek Forbort. So, for the Capitals, shots in the first period were 14-8 in favor of the Kings. In the second period, it was 13-9 in favor of the Caps. In the third period, the Kings outshot the Capitals 6-5, so not a lot of shooting in the third period by either team. The Kings would outshoot the Caps 29-26 in this game. The Caps would be 0 for 3 on the power play, the Kings 0 for 1. The Caps out-hit the Kings 30-20. And the face-off percentages does not look good in the Caps' favor, as LA won 67% to the Capitals 33%. So there you have it for that. Obviously, today at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific, you have the Washington Capitals taking on the San Jose Sharks in the final game of the Western California road trip. And then Monday, they take on the Winnipeg Jets. Thursday, they take on the New York Islanders and in Long Island. And then on Friday, they're back at home taking on the Islanders in a home-and-home back-to-back series against the two teams. So that's what you have coming up. So you have one more West Coast trip that has playoff implications for Anaheim, Los Angeles, and San Jose. You have a game against Winnipeg, which has playoff implications in the Central Division, and then you have 2 games against the Islanders, who are out of the playoff picture, but are key Metropolitan Division points that the Washington Capitals need, which also the Caps need points against Winnipeg and San Jose as well. So when you look at the upcoming week for the Washington Capitals, there's a lot coming up that they need to do, and they need to do better. And for the Washington Capitals, they got to come out with urgency against the San Jose Sharks. They got to come out with urgency against the Winnipeg Jets. And they need to play with massive purpose against the New York Islanders, both on Thursday and Friday night. If they do that, they'll be successful. If they don't, you're looking at wild card for the Washington Capitals now at this point. Or potentially out of the playoffs. It's because the next game, which is on the 18th, which is a Sunday, the Capitals play the Philadelphia Flyers at 5 p.m. So you have 3 straight games after you play San Jose and Winnipeg against your own division. And Philly is a hot team right now. So the Washington Capitals need to be very careful with what they do and how they play. Because if they don't play well, I'm calling it right now. If they don't play well, then the Washington Capitals are going to be out of the playoffs. And I'm shooting straight on that. I am shooting 100% straight on that. If the Caps don't turn it around, they will be out of the playoffs. And if they do make the playoffs, they'll be bounced very quickly in the first round. So, with that said, I've noted this with George from NovaCap several times, that the number one thing is that as we all see, and everyone likes to rip him and try to protect him with fancy analytical stats, which fancy analytical stats mean absolutely nothing. Like Corsi, it means nothing. Ever. But, Braden Holtby's playing through a rut right now. And psychologically, it is messing with him. And I can attest to this as a former goaltender myself in ice hockey, is that when you go through these ruts that you play through, you just have to keep fighting through it. But at the same time, I read something very interesting by Elliot Friedman in his 31 Thoughts, which is something that I retweet on Twitter every week when he does it. And I now retweet his 31 Thoughts podcast that he does now. Because what you get out of Elliot Friedman is pure gold. And he gives you information that you should see and read and take in because it's of the legitimacy of Elliot Friedman. And one of the key things he brought up was, if you look at Braden Holtby, in the last several seasons that he's been in the league, he has played... I'm about to get to that point, Shaggy, right here, right now. And thanks for saying good morning. I love you too, buddy. But Braden Holtby has played the most games in the last few seasons And as a result, is, as Shaggy just mentioned in our Twitch chat room, is mentally fatigued and physically fatigued. And Elliot Freeman was saying in his 31 Thoughts, good morning to you, Shaggy, but the thing that Elliot Freeman was saying in his 31 Thoughts is that the Capitals should be playing Grubauer more to rest up Holtby, because the wear and tear that the position of goalie takes on you, both mentally and physically, is a lot more than what it is on a defenseman and a forward. Not taking anything away from a defenseman or forward, but the fact that a goaltender is on the ice for a full 60 minutes compared to a forward or defenseman who's out there for a 45-second to a minute 30 shift. The wear and tear, the mental focus that you need to have, it's more there for a goaltender, and we're seeing that with Braden Holtby. And talk is that you're kind of seeing that a little bit with Andrei Vasilevsky of the Tampa Bay Lightning too, with the amount of games that he has played this season for them as well. So just something to think about. Grubauer should get more starts. I believe he is going to be starting today in San Jose. Not 100%. I actually didn't see who played in goal for the Caps on Thursday night against Los Angeles. I actually didn't watch the game again. It was one where I decided to go to bed early so I can go to work on Friday. Because adult things to do. But yeah, you got 4 key games that the Caps have. All 2 are against playoff opponents. Two are against a team that is out of the playoffs. The Caps need to get serious if they want to go far. And Shaggy, I think you would agree with me, if the Caps stay this route, they could potentially be out of the playoffs. Or if they do make the playoffs, they will be out early in the first round. So, with that, we're going to move on to National Women's Hockey League talk. Starting off with the Buffalo Beauts versus the Metropolitan Rivers, which took place We're starting with the Boston Pride versus the Connecticut Whale, which took place last Saturday, March 3rd. And for the Boston Pride, they got goals in the first period from Jordan Smelker, and assisted by Dana Trevino and Janine Weber. And another goal by Jillian Dempsey, assisted by Mary Parker and Emily Field. In the second period, the Connecticut Whale got a goal from Emily Fluke, assisted by Emma Greco and Rachel Aide. And then Boston would get another one from Jordan Smelker, assisted by Dana Trevino and Janine Weber. And then at 14:31 of the third period, Sydney Rossler would score for the Connecticut Whale, but it would not be enough, as the Connecticut Whale, would not be enough for the Connecticut Whale, as the Boston Pride would defeat them 3-2, thus locking up playoff positioning for the Boston Pride and the Connecticut Whale. So everyone knows who they're playing. Boston will be playing Buffalo, and Connecticut will be taking on Metropolitan Riveters. But the Buffalo Beauts did have one more game against the Metropolitan Riveters on Sunday, which was the Twitter game of the week, where the Buffalo Beauts handed the Metropolitan Riveters their second straight loss. Goals for Buffalo was in the first period, Corinne Bowie from Sarah Casurso and Colleen Murphy, and then in the second period, Buffalo would get their second goal from Kristen Lewicki, assisted by Jess Jones and Corinne Bowie. Metropolitan would get a goal from Madison Packer, assisted by Rebecca Russo and Courtney Burke, but it would not be enough for them as they fall 2-1 to the Buffalo Beauts. So looking at the schedule ahead, this Saturday, today, is the last day of the regular season for the National Women's Hockey League. You have the Buffalo Beauts taking on the Connecticut Whale in Connecticut at the Terry Connors Ice Rink. And then you also have the Metropolitan Riveters at the Boston Pride. The Beauts at Whale is at 7 o'clock. The Riveters at Pride is at 7:30. And I'm looking real quick for the Twitter game of the week. So I think it's the Beauts Whale game. Do that. And the Buffalo Beauts Connecticut Whale game tonight at 7 p.m. will be the Twitter game of the week. The Riveters versus the Pride. You can watch that on the NWHL YouTube. For more information on that, go to NWHL .zone for more information on how you can watch the games. And then, of course, the playoffs start next weekend. The 17th is the Boston Pride at the Buffalo Beauts at 5:30 p.m. And then the Connecticut Whale at the Metropolitan Riveters on Sunday, the 18th, at 7 p.m. for that one. For NWHL Player of the Week, it is Dana Trevino of the Boston Pride. She had 2 assists in Boston's 3-2 victory over Connecticut. That sealed the 3rd seed in the playoffs. Trevino had the primary helper on the Pride goal by Jordan Smelker that gave Boston a 3-1 lead midway through the 2nd period, and a lead that they would not relinquish. After Boston hosts the Riveters on Saturday, March 10th at Warrior Ice Arena in the final game of the regular season, they will face Buffalo at Harbor Center in the Isabel Cup semifinals on Saturday, March 17th. For the season, Trevino has 3 goals and 5 assists for 8 points in 12 games with the Pride, and was a member of the team to NWHL for his 2-game series in January against the U.S. Olympic team. Now, she and her team are focused on closing out the season strong. And let's see here. Let's see what Shaggy posted. I agree, unless we play Boston because we own them. The only way we would play Boston is if Tampa Bay falls to 2nd place in the Atlantic and Boston takes over 1st. I don't see that happening. Tampa's too good right now. And then you going on for the Connecticut Whale for Rookie of the Year. And I know you voted for your 3 stars, which I will be talking about that in a moment. And then, of course, as I just mentioned, the 2018 Isabel Cup semifinals matchup set as the Pride take on the Beauts March 17th at 5:30 p.m. and the Whale at the Riveters on March 18th at 7 p.m. Tickets are available. Semifinal tickets are $20 and available now at nwhl.zone/tickets. So for all of you in that area, go pick up some tickets and go to a game. And then it's NWHL award season, and for the 2nd consecutive season, the fans will have their say about their favorite players. Voting for the NWHL fans' 3 stars of the season is open now. You can fill out a ballot on nwhl.zone. Your picks are entirely up to you. They can be the greatest players and the MVPs of the NWHL, but they can also be the players you personally admire for their work ethic, for their leadership, for the way they communicate with the fans at NWHL events or through social media. With so many talented, dedicated, community-minded, and fan-friendly players to choose from, the league knows that this won't be easy. Please fill out the fancy ballot and list the players from 1 to 3 that you want to nominate for the fans' 3 stars of the season. You have until 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, March 15th, to complete your ballots. In 2017, the first ever recipients of the NWHL fans' 3 stars of the season were Rebecca Russo of the Riveters and U.S. Olympic team. Then Buffalo forward Harrison Brown, now at the Rivs, and Connecticut Whale and NWHL PA leader Anya Bottolino. The 2017-18 NWHL Awards will be announced via social media on Tuesday, March 20th, beginning at noon Eastern via Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The players will vote on 2 awards, Most Valuable Player and the Dena Lang Award for leadership, perseverance, and dedication to the game. The league office will select the recipients of the NWHL Foundation Awards for efforts in charitable and women's hockey development initiatives. A panel of NWHL reporters and broadcasters will select the winners for Goaltender of the Year, Defender of the Year, and for the first time ever, Rookie of the Year. Players are eligible for Rookie of the Year if they enter this season having played a total of 3 games or fewer in the pros. Balloting for your 3 stars of the season begins now and continues for just 1 week. So fans, let's get voting. And I'm awaiting my I'm hoping to be selected to be allowed to vote for goalie, defender, and Rookie of the Year. So hi, I'm here. Don't forget about me. And then real quick, staying on women's hockey right here, right now. We have to do a shout out to our good friend Stephanie Phillips from Kicking Ice, the graphic novel. Ladies and gentlemen, it hit its goal, went over its goal, the goal that it reached. Its pledged goal of $17,000 was shattered. It ended up making $35,544 from a combined 779 backers. So huge congratulations to Stephanie Phillips And I'm talking to Stephanie off record about some stuff right now. Give it some time, because there will be a convention tour, as she mentioned, on Kickstarter when it finalized the other night. She mentioned that there will be a convention tour. Stay tuned. I know a lot of people at conventions. I'm trying to see what I can do to help. And ladies and gentlemen, you don't if she's out at a show, you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it at all. That's all I'm going to say about it right now. But Stephanie, huge congratulations on Kicking Ice and the success that you have. I cannot wait to get my copy to read it. I am excited for that. Let's see here. And we got a lot of NHL news and notes. But let's see here. Of course, there's no pause button on the Twitch feed. So, interesting notes about the Stadium Series. We're going to go back to March 4th real quick. Capitals defenseman Brooks Orpik and Maple Leafs forward James Van Riemsdyk tied a record by appearing in their 5th regular season outdoor NHL game. Maple Leafs forward Tomas Plekanec, who played with the Canadiens in December's 2017 Scotiabank NHL 100 Classic, became the first player in NHL history to participate in outdoor games with multiple teams in the same season. He also became they won't note this, but he also became the first player to just play in 2 outdoor games in one season too, as well. There have now been a total of 25 regular season outdoor NHL games, 10 Winter Classics, 9 Stadium Series, 4 Heritage Classics, 1 Centennial Classic, and 1 NHL 100 Classic. Teams that score first improved to 15-7-3 in leagues in outdoor games, including 10 1-1 record in the last 12 contests. There were more than 500 U.S. Naval Academy midshipmen attending the 2018 Coors Light NHL Stadium Series, including those who flanked the ice servers for pregame ceremonies following a procession march onto the field, which was awesome. Which, by the way, also what was really awesome was the 2 teams coming out to the bagpipes and drums. You know, I know, okay, I already talked about Cavs before, but let's really break down this outdoor game. I really loved the Capitals and the Maple Leafs coming out to their respective Navy's pipe and drum bands. That is awesome. Anyone who knows me personally, knows I love going to the Renaissance Fair. I love having fun. I run around in a kilt, but there's one thing I love doing is that when I go to the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair in Manheim, Pennsylvania, there's a bagpipes and drums band called Tartanic. Even though I've heard their music hundreds and hundreds of times, I always make it a priority to go see them live because their music is amazing. And seeing that at a hockey game is freaking sweet. I loved it. Speaking about other things that were really freaking sweet, you had members of the U.S. men's curling team who drew a stone to center ice in a very unique ceremonial opening face-off. And I have to admit, I really like, how they were able to get the stone right on the money of the center ice dot. That was just perfect. It was beautiful. And most importantly, that was great entertainment. It is never cold for the gentleman wearing kilts, Shaggy. It is never cold because we actually know how to wear a kilt properly. And yes, the opening puck drop was awesome with the curling team. That was really sweet. And then, of course, the gold medal winning U.S. women's hockey team were honored in a special ceremony during the second intermission. However, Hillary Knight was missing, which will lead me into a little tangent that is deserved towards NBC. And that is, NBC, you suck. Because, yes, the stadium lights went out for 13 minutes. And it was awesome. Because then everyone became part of Bray Wyatt's Fireflies. And those of you who don't watch wrestling, look up Bray Wyatt and his Fireflies. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun. Especially if you're a wrestling fan. But here's the thing. We know in the past the reason that you got that you do what you do is because of what happened with the XFL back in 2001, which was 17 years ago. One massive problem. This is a marquee game, an outdoor game, a showcase game for the NHL. And because of that delay, you got pissy. And you were afraid that SNL wasn't going to start on time, so you had to cut the game and send it off to NBC Sports Network to guarantee that the local news went on time and that SNL went on time. Which, by the way, SNL had Hillary Knight, who was not at the Stadium Series game, which honestly, she should have been at the Stadium Series game. But with that, we also know how petty the NBC is right now at the NHL about the NHL not going to the Olympics, which the NHL made the right decision on. Get over it, NBC. The NHL made the right decision no matter how mad you were about it. And not only that, but you got better games from the Olympics, having Germany in the gold medal game, Russia in the gold medal game. You saw things that we weren't able to see. And I want to actually skip over. I want to go back, because there was an announcement made this week about the 2018 NHL Global Series dates and locations. Let me find it all. Okay, so the Edmonton Oilers and New Jersey Devils to open the regular season in Gothenburg, Sweden on October 6th. Okay, cool. You're taking two NHL franchises and sending them to Sweden to play 2 games there, or to at least play a game there. Then, the Florida Panthers and Winnipeg Jets are going to face off in a pair of games in Helsinki, Finland on November 1st and 2nd. Perfect. You're sending 2 teams to Finland for 2 games. And then, the Global Series Challenge is going to feature the Devils versus SC Bern on October 1st in Bern, Switzerland, which, by the way, Nico Hischier is from Switzerland, and Austin Matthews played in the Swiss Adult League out there. And then the Oilers are going to play against Kölner Haie on October 3rd in Cologne, Germany, which, by the way, Leon Draisaitl's from Germany. And Germany just played in the gold medal game and won silver and earned silver in the Olympics. By sending the New Jersey Devils with Nico Hischier to Switzerland, and the Edmonton Oilers, who have Leon Draisaitl, who's from Germany, to Germany, guess what you're doing right there in those 2 countries? You're growing the game in those 2 countries, which is more than what the NHL would have been able to do if they just sent their players to the Olympics. If they sent their players to the Olympics, we would have seen Canada win the gold medal again, or US in there, or Sweden in there, or Finland in there, because those are the dominant 4. And by taking away all the NHL players, you gave other countries who have lots of good talent a chance. But not only that, but you gave those countries a chance to really showcase their teams on a higher level without being destroyed by NHL players. And most importantly, help grow the sport in those countries as well. So, this is how you grow the game properly, NBC, especially with the fact that you don't let the NHL use any of the men's Olympics footage. Yeah, you can't use the footage. What's the freaking point of sending them? And not only that, but shutting down the league for 3 weeks to a month, not beneficial to the league. Never has, never will. Get over it. And to all you fans that keep saying that the NHL screwed up, NHL didn't screw up. If anything, what NBC should have done is they should have put NHL games on before the Olympic hockey games. Because here's why. You have the NHL games playing at 7 p.m. Eastern time over here. At 11 p.m. Eastern time over here, that's when the hockey games were playing. Use the NHL to lead in to the Olympic Games. But NBC had to be pissy because the NHL didn't send their players, which was the right decision by the NHL. And yes, Shaggy, I agree. I seriously thought for a second that the Germans were going to pull off the upset against the Russians as well. But you know what? The fact that they were there helps grow the sport in the country of Germany. The fact that the Edmonton Oilers are going to be playing a game against Kölner Hay on October 3rd in Cologne, Germany, that's going to help grow the game in Germany. And that is how you grow the game, people. You send your NHL franchises to these places, do exhibition games, or a global series challenge game against other countries' top teams in their top leagues. Do that, and that's how you're going to grow the game. I know there's talk about them trying to do one in China in the near future. Hey, do it. I'd rather send an NHL franchise to China to play again in an exhibition game or have a regular season game out there between two NHL franchises to entertain the fans and hopefully grow the game out there. Because that's how you're going to do it. Not the nonsensical garbage that they're doing right now. So, let's see here. 3 stars of the week. For the 3 stars of the week, you had your 3rd star, Alexander Barkov, center of the Florida Panthers. Barkov shared the league lead with 5 goals in 4 games as the Panthers extended their winning streak to 6 contests and moved within 1 point of the final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. 2nd star was Patrick Laine, right winger of the Winnipeg Jets. Laine recorded multiple points in all 3 of his appearances, ranking 3rd in the NHL with 4 goals, 3 assists, and 7 points to lift the Jets to a pair of victories. Pardon me, I need to drink something real quick. My throat's getting parched. You try doing all the talking for an hour straight. You'll need to stop to get something to drink too. And then the 1st star was Nathan McKinnon, center of the Colorado Avalanche. McKinnon led the NHL in goals, assists, and points to propel the Avalanche to a 3-1 week and within 1 point of the final playoff spot in the Western Conference. All right. The Hockey Hall of Fame announced a new appointment to the selection committee and details on upcoming 75-25 anniversary celebrations. Lanny McDonald, chairman of the board of the Hockey Hall of Fame, announced today the appointment of a new member to the Hockey Hall of Fame selection committee, commencing with the 2018 nomination and election proceedings. NBC hockey analyst Peter McGuire will replace Scotty Bowman, whose 15-year term limit concluded on December 31st, 2017, after serving on the selection committee since 2003. So, they only get 15-year term limits. Bowman has served up his, a spot was open, and Peter McGuire has now been selected. In addition to the new appointment, David Branch, president of the Canadian Hockey League, Brian Burke, president of Hockey Operations Calgary Flames, Mark DeFoy, 2010 Elmer Ferguson Memorial Award recipient, Mike Gartner, honored member, class of 2001, and Anders Hedberg, IIHF Hall of Fame, class of 1997, were each reappointed to the selection committee for a further 3-year term expiring December 31st, 2020. On a separate subject matter, 2018 is a momentous year for the Hockey Hall of Fame as it will commemorate 75 years since its inception on September 10th, 1943, and 25 years since opening its destination attraction at BCE Place, now Brookfield Place, on June 18th, 1993. In view of these significant milestone anniversaries, the Hockey Hall of Fame launched the 75-25 inaugural endowment fundraising campaign with the goal of contributing $1 million in net proceeds from the Hockey Hall of Fame 75-25 Anniversary Legends Gala, the marquee event and focal point of the campaign to be held at historic Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto on Monday, June 25th, 2018. Anytime you can get the old Maple Leaf Gardens involved, I consider that a plus for the NHL. To achieve this fundraising goals, individuals and businesses can become founding members of the newly established Hockey Hall of Fame Development and Preservation Fund. Up to 75 founding members, each making a one-time contribution of $25,000, will receive, among other benefits, tickets to attend the Legends Gala in presence of the Hockey Hall of Fame's fraternity of honored members and other special guests and entertainers. Plans are also shaping up for various 75-25 themed promotional activities at the Hockey Hall of Fame from June 18, 2018 to September 10, 2018, and a commemorative coffee table book titled The Hall will be published by Montreal-based Griffintown Media for release in fall 2018. Where was I? The day after the Legends Gala on Tuesday, June 26, 2018, the selection committee will meet to consider duly nominated candidates for election into honored membership. The announcement of the class of 2018 will be made later that day at 3 p.m., and the annual induction ceremony or celebration will be held on Monday, November 12, 2018. That is actually an email I'm going to keep, because it has information I like. That's nothing. All right. I'm going to go through Department of Safety stuff, and then I'm going to talk about a thing that was announced yesterday. And Shaggy, good job, Shaggy. And Shaggy, I want you involved on the conversation after I do player safety stuff. Boston Bruins forward David Backes has been suspended for 3 games without pay for interference against Detroit Red Wings forward Franz Nielsen during NHL game number 1020 in Boston on Tuesday, March 6. The incident occurred at 19:44 of the first period. Backes was assessed a minor penalty for roughing under the terms of the collective bargaining agreement, and based on his average annual salary, Backes will forfeit $96,774.18. Boston Bruins forward Brad Marchand has been fined $2,000 as supplementary discipline under NHL Rule 64 diving and embellishment, the National Hockey League announced. NHL Rule 64 is designed to bring attention to and more seriously penalize players and teams who repeatedly dive and embellish in an attempt to draw penalties. Fines are assessed to players and head coaches on a graduated scale outlined below. Citation 1 is a warning to the player. Citation 2 is a $2,000 fine to the player, and then it proceeds to a max of $5,000 fine for the player. Once it hits $5,000 for a player, it becomes $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for the coach. So, Marchand was issued a warning following an incident flagged by the NHL operations during NHL game number 377 against the Tampa Bay Lightning on November 29th. His second citation, which triggered the $2,000 fine, was issued for an incident at 5:38 of the second period during NHL game 983 against the Pittsburgh Penguins on March 1st. Marchand and Pittsburgh Penguins defenseman Oli Mata received offsetting minor penalties on the play. And then, the same happened to Arizona Coyotes forward Nick Cousins, as he was fined $2,000 as well for diving and embellishment. Cousins was issued a warning following an incident flagged by NHL hockey operations during NHL game number 627 against Nashville on January 4th. His second citation, which triggered the fine, was issued for an incident at 13:42 of the second period during NHL game number 988 against the Minnesota Wild on March 1st. Cousins and Minnesota defenseman Nick Seeler receives offsetting minor penalties on that play that took place for that. And then real quick, some notes on last night's games. Seth Jones scored twice and Sergei Bobrovsky made a game-saving stop in the final seconds of regulation to propel the Blue Jackets to their 4th straight win. Columbus leapfrogged the idle New Jersey Devils for the first wildcard spot in the Eastern Conference. Jones, who scored in overtime Thursday, became the sixth defenseman to score the game-winning goal in consecutive games this season. In fact, only two other Blue Liners in Blue Jackets history have accomplished the feat, being Nikita Nitkinen and Zach Werenski, who did it last season. Five different players scored, including Eric Stahl's team-leading 37th goal of the season, to power the Wild to their third consecutive victory and maintain their grip on third place in the Central Division. Stahl, who sits 3 goals shy of reaching the 40-goal mark for the third time in his career and first since 2008-2009, ranks 4th in the Maurice Rocket Richard Trophy race, behind Alex Ovechkin, who has 40, Patrick Laine, who has 39, and Evgeny Malkin, who has 38. Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin each collected 2 points to help the Dallas Stars overcome a third-period deficit and improve to 3-0-2 in their last 5 games in American Airlines Center. With the win, Dallas maintained its hold on the first wildcard position in the Western Conference and kept pace with the Wild in the Central Division standings. The Calgary Flames held a 2-0 lead midway through the third period and hung on for the win to wrap up their 3-game road trip with a 2-0-1 record and move within 1 point of the LA Kings for the second wildcard position in the Western Conference. Johnny Gaudreau earned an assist on Matt Stajan's game-winning goal to move into a 4-way tie for the league lead in assists. Gaudreau paces the Flames with 20 goals, 57 assists for 77 points this season, 1 point back of his career high from 2015-16. And, yeah, let's talk about it. Shaggy, are you ready to talk about what was announced yesterday? This is very interesting. Now, for anybody who knows me personally, I'm a gamer. And on my personal Twitch account, I do a thing called X75 Unsanctioned, where I curse, I play video games. It's relaxing to me because I'm letting off stress. But most importantly, I'm having fun. One of the key games that we play on X75 Unsanctioned when we do it is NHL by EA Sports. And as Shaggy will know, and Dixon's not available today, so he can't be talking about the devastation that is brought upon him by me calling all EA Sports NHL 18 gamers. Think you're the best. Want to prove it. Registration opened yesterday for the 2018 NHL Gaming World Championship, the NHL's first ever international esports tournament. I'm not that good. Dixon just sucks, and I take advantage of it. I think Shaggy and I have had a very close matchup. Russell from Tilted Ice and I have had very close matchups. Per the press release that the NHL put out yesterday, we're on a mission and looking for the best EA Sports NHL 18 gamers. Bragging rights, a $100,000 cash prize pool, tickets to the 2018 NHL Awards, and capturing the championship trophy in Las Vegas are all up for grabs when the National Hockey League crowns its first ever esports champion in June. Wow, you got blown out the last online game you played? That sucks. I probably would get blown out too. The NHL announced that registration for the 2018 NHL Gaming World Championship and esports bracket-style tournament is now open. Players can register online. The 2018 NHL Gaming World Championship is a venture with NHL global broadcast partners NBC Sports, Sportsnet, and Viasat. Each broadcaster will host a regional final and produce unique content throughout the various stages of the competition. The content will be available on NHL digital platforms, the digital platforms of the league's broadcast partners, and on the NHL's Twitch channel, www.twitch.tv/NHL. Okay. Face It, the official tournament platform for the competition, will host and administer the tournament where players can follow the bracket. I now have competition from the NHL on Twitch. Like I'm competition to anybody. The 2018 NHL Gaming World Championship is supported by NHL's corporate partners across 3 different geographic territories. Global partners include Bridgestone and Honda, with their rights spanning across the US, Canada, and Europe. Partners exclusive to the US include Dunkin' Donuts and Geico, with PepsiCo Beverages Canada and Scotiabank in Canada. There will be single elimination online qualifier tournaments. The qualifiers will be open to players residing in Canada, the European Union, and the United States. All games will be played in standard competitive online versus 1 mode with NHL 18 for each region. 2 qualifiers will be played on Xbox One and 2 qualifiers will be played on PlayStation 4. Each qualifier will produce a winner and runner-up, who will each advance to the applicable regional final. The PS4 console will be the platform for the regional finals and world final. Yes! Because PlayStation 4 is a superior system. At the conclusion of all the qualifiers, 8 players from each region will travel to a regional final comprised of a double elimination in-person tournament. The European finals will compete at Viasat Studios in Stockholm, Sweden on Sunday, May 6th. Canadian regional finalists will compete in Toronto, Ontario on May 11th, and U.S. regional finalists will compete at NBC Studios in Stamford, Connecticut on Sunday, May 20th. The winner and runner-up from each regional final will then advance to Las Vegas for the 2018 NHL Gaming Final, a round-robin style tournament hosted at the new Esports Arena, Las Vegas, at Luxor Hotel and the Casino on Tuesday, June 19th. The top 2 gamers will emerge from the round-robin to face off in a best-of-3 final round to determine the 2018 NHL Gaming World Champion. The winner will be presented with the championship trophy, receive a cash prize, and take part in the 2018 NHL Awards as well. The official hashtag for this event will be NHLGWC. So, yeah. That's very interesting. Okay, Nintendo Switch. It's a gimmick. I don't care for it. I play PlayStation 4. It's my baby. I'm a PlayStation guy. I mean, don't get me wrong, I liked Nintendo. I liked everything up to the GameCube. And, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of Xbox. I think Xbox is a crap system. I would know this because I used to work in the gaming industry for 3 years. The Nintendo Wii was cool when it came out. Then it just, after about 6 months, it was just like, okay, what else do you have for me now? Switch is cool because of the whole, you could play on TV, then you could take it with you. That's really cool, but it's all gimmick. I just want to play games and have fun doing it. I don't need all the gimmicks. I don't need VR. I don't need any of that garbage. I don't need 3D, which thankfully they stopped that garbage quickly. And I hope they stop the VR garbage too soon, because that's a waste of time and money as well. But Shaggy and everyone else, I'm going to put up a poll. You're going to have 24 hours to do this poll. Yeah, that's also one of the things that killed the Wii, was the fact that they didn't have any good third-party games come out for it. But I'm going to put a poll up for 24 hours. During these 24 hours, I want you to say, yes, I should register to participate in this tournament, or no, just play and have fun and do whatever the hell you want to do when you play. Because quite frankly, for the qualifiers, it is going to be done online. If I read this right. We'll showcase their skills in the single elimination online. Yeah, so we get to play online so I don't have to travel anywhere. I'm not going to lie, I'm probably going to get blown out in the first game anyways if I do enter the tournament. So, I'm going to put up a poll. Yay or nay. Should I enter the tournament? Should I not enter the tournament? I want honest opinions. Let's see what people say. I will obviously announce. Actually, yeah. The reason I say 24 hours is because if I'm going to do it, I'm going to register for it tomorrow. So if I put it up by 1 o'clock today, by 1 o'clock tomorrow, the poll will have ended, and then I can go back to doing it. I can see if whether or not it's worth my time registering to play in the tournament. So, with that, you now have a poll on Twitter. Actually, I'll put it up on Patreon too. So, with that, this has been the Experience Hockey Talk, Serious Hockey Talk for serious hockey fans. Huge shout out again to Stephanie Phillips and Kicking Ice for the success that they've had with their Kickstarter campaign. I cannot wait to read Kicking Ice, and stay tuned for a potential convention schedule for them. You can follow the show on Twitch at TXHT_hockey, Facebook at facebook.com/TXHThockey. No, wait, Twitter is TXHT_hockey, Facebook is TXHThockey, Patreon, patreon.com/TXHT_hockey. And of course, tell your friends to follow the show here on Twitch so they know we go live every Saturday at 11 a.m. at twitch.tv/TXHT_hockey. And in the coming weeks, Suds from the DCHL will be on the preview of the championship games in the DCHL. And a major announcement between the DCHL and TXHT will also be made that day. So stay tuned. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this has been the Experience Hockey Talk, Serious Hockey Talk for serious hockey fans. Join the Patreon community, follow the show on Twitch, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. And until next Saturday, we will see you on the ice.